it is my very great pleasure to introduce to you formally our new board chair, Jerry Greiman.
Thank you, Patty. My grandfather, Al Ellis, who was a pillar of the Chicago Jewish community and a frequent and accomplished speaker, would invariably begin his remarks with the words, "Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, I know he would be proud to see me standing here tonight before you." So to honor the memory of my grandfather and also bring a smile to the faces of my family members who are here, let me begin by saying, unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, good evening to all of you. I am truly honored and humbled to be elected to serve as your board chair. Thank you for your trust and confidence that you have placed in me. I want to thank Harvey Wallace for the wonderful job he has done as board chair these past 2 years. I am assuming leadership of a very strong federation, thanks in large part to Harvey and his great work. I also want to thank the officers, the board of directors, the rest of our terrific lay leadership, our inspiring and fabulous CEO, Andrew Rayfeld, and the rest of our wonderful professional staff for all of their great work. Their work brings to mind the words of Sully, Captain Chesley Sullenberger, the pilot who landed his airliner in the Hudson River several years ago after both engines flamed out. Afterwards, Sully was asked if he was praying as the plane was going down. He responded, "I figured enough people were praying. I thought I'd best fly the airplane." As a Jewish organization, we need to have faith and we need to have prayer. But we also must keep in mind we need to fly the airplane, and it is our professional and lay leadership who fly the airplane. For those of you who may not know me, in my day job, I'm a lawyer with the firm Spencer Fane. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. My family belonged to a conservative synagogue where I attended 5 long years of Hebrew school. I came to St. Louis to attend college at Washington University and also went to law school there. A few years after graduation, I went off to Washington, D.C. and spent 9 years there. My family and I came back to St. Louis in 1986, and we've been here ever since. We are longtime members of Central Reform Congregation. Let me take a moment to acknowledge some people here tonight who have been very special in my life. First is my wife and partner of 35 years, Susan Carlson. Hi, honey. Our son David has taken time out from his musical career in Los Angeles to be here tonight. Our daughter Nora, who's an archaeologist for the National Park Service, could not be here. She's out roaming the wilderness on a work trip. I grew up a middle child between 2 sisters, but seems I've aged more rapidly than my sisters, so I'm now the oldest. But here tonight is my sister Donna Rothenberg and her husband, Dr. Rob Rothenberg, who live in St. Louis. And also here are my sister Renee Klass and my niece Karen Klass from Chicago. To all of them and to each and every one of you, thank you for coming. I very much appreciate your being here. This is a watershed time for the Federation and the St. Louis Jewish community, and I am very gratified to be assuming office at this particular moment. We are in the process of adopting and beginning implementation of a new strategic plan, which I believe is going to be transformative. The St. Louis Jewish community is my community, and the opportunity to help strengthen and further build our community is what attracts me to this position. One of the changes you will see in the new plan is the Federation evolving into a community development foundation. As Harvey said, this change has begun under his leadership and is continuing. What do I mean by a community development foundation? In the past, Federation's focus largely has been on fundraising and then allocating whatever resources are raised. What we envision going forward is a model whereby the Federation first defines its priorities, next identifies important needs within the community to be addressed in advancing those priorities, and then works as partners with our donors to develop a case for giving based on community needs. We then will work with our donors to raise the needed funds. Those funds will be invested in our community to meet the identified needs, and the impact of our work will be evaluated based on data and metrics. In all of this work, Federation will work primarily collaboratively as partners with and through agencies, synagogues, and other community organizations, as it traditionally has. Federation will provide services directly only when it can do so more effectively or efficiently or where gaps exist. While the annual campaign will have a central role in what we do, always, you will see a change in our development scorekeeping. We will report on and celebrate our development work encompassing not just the annual campaign, but also targeted gifts, planned and legacy gifts, grants, supporting foundations, and donor-advised funds. Another fundamental change you will see is a renewed focus on engaging a much larger portion of the St. Louis Jewish community than currently is engaged. The community demographic study completed by the Federation in 2014 that Patty mentioned tells us that the aggregate number of Jews in St. Louis, measured by those identifying as Jewish, is increasing, now 60,000. But a large number of those people are not engaged with the community. The study also tells us that almost half of married couples in St. Louis Jewish households, defined as households with at least one Jewish adult, include a non-Jewish spouse. Like it or not, those are the trends, and they show no signs of changing anytime soon. I believe we need to view the mixed Jewish households as an opportunity. We need to redouble our efforts to engage the Jewish members of those households and also make efforts to engage the other members of those households. Bottom line, I believe we need to foster community engagement among all segments and members of our community, both religious and secular, recognizing the diversity of the community and the need to connect with people on a number of different planes: religious, cultural, historical, and ethical, among others. So how do we do that? Well, another important lesson from the community study is that 53% of the Jewish respondents said they believe being Jewish is very important to them. And another 31% said they feel it's somewhat important. That's a pretty strong foundation to build on. I believe the needed approach involves meeting people where they are and supporting a wide range of opportunities for individuals and groups to engage with and within our community. The key to me is to focus on the questions central to our people. Why be Jewish? And we need to recognize and celebrate the many different answers to that question coming from various members of our community. For some, the answer to the question, why be Jewish, may be the Jewish religion, its laws, its teachings, its majesty, and its mystery. For others, it may be Jewish culture and tradition, the holidays, the food, family memories. For still others, it may be a devotion to Jewish values, such as improving the world, caring for the needy, welcoming the stranger, and promoting social justice. And for some, it may be the history of the Jewish people and the feeling of being connected to other Jews and to Israel. And as to those for whom none of the answers I just ticked off resonates, there's always another answer reflecting the classic Jewish approach of answering a question with a question. That answer to the question of why be Jewish is, of course, why not? Whatever the answer may be for any of us, I hope to celebrate all of those answers over the next 2 years and broaden the appreciation throughout our community of being Jewish. I hope all of you will join me in those efforts. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jerry. I assure you, you will enjoy the next 2 years and probably be a little challenged. According to our bylaws, I continue to serve until midnight tonight. So as my last official act, I hereby adjourn the meeting. Thank you for coming. Enjoy dessert and continue to enjoy the Magic House.